My next guest tonight is an activist, presidential candidate, and New York Times bestseller, whose latest book is A Politics of Love. Please welcome Marianne Williamson.
I'm every woman, it's all in me. And I think I want that baby, I do it naturally.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have you on.
Lovely to be here.
You are the author, for those out there who don't know, of 15 books. You're a New York Times bestseller. You're the co-founder of the Project Angel Food, which started in the 1980s. 1989 as meals to AIDS patients. It continues to this day.
12 million meals it's served now.
You lost the California congressional race in 2014.
Yes.
Now you are running to be the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. What makes you different than the other 24 candidates who are running?
Well, in some of the policy positions, I think I'm very similar. I'm a progressive, left-wing Democrat. But
Medicare for all?
Medicare, I want a public option. I think a public option in addition to the Obamacare exchange. Because I believe I want to be an agent of change. I don't want to be an agent of chaos. And I believe that's the best way to do it. I think that there will be a transition to the Medicare for all flat, and I think that the government can give subsidies to anybody who might be lost in the meantime. So yeah, I think the public option is the best way to go.
You've got a new book called A Politics of Love. Now, love is not always associated with the presidency. The president has to do some tough things. He's also the commander, he or she is the commander-in-chief. Would you be able to order other people to go kill our enemies?
Absolutely. I think that when you take an oath of office as the President of the United States, part of that oath means that you are Commander-in-Chief. Absolutely. But I think if you're going to talk about peace, you can't just back up into peace. I have great respect for the military. My father fought in World War II. My critique of our national security agenda is not a critique of the military. It's a critique of politicians who have based our national security agenda as much on short-term profit maximization for defense contractors as it has on any agenda for creating peace. When was the last time you heard a politician talking about peace on this planet in 20 years? That's why I want a Department of Peace. You can't just take medicine, you also have to cultivate health. Of course you take medicine when you need medicine, but you also take care of your nutrition, and you take care of your exercise, and you take care of other ways to cultivate health. Because sickness is the absence of health. Health isn't the absence of sickness, and war is the absence of peace. Peace isn't the absence of war.
Well, actually, this discussion actually happened in earnest about 10 years ago, and Richard Holbrooke, I was watching a conversation he was having with the great Willie Nelson. I don't know if you know Willie.
Now, of course, I come from Texas.
Willie came up to Richard Holbrooke and said, why don't we have a Department of Peace?
Thank you.
And Richard Holbrooke said to him, Willie, we do. It's called the State Department. It's just not used that way.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. So we have a $750 billion military budget. Then the State Department, which is mediation, diplomacy, and development, is $40 billion. Now, within the State Department, we do have peace-building agencies. What are peacebuilders? Now, first of all, peacebuilders, building peace is as sophisticated a level of expertise as is military skill, which is also certainly important. But the military is like a surgeon. Of course, we have to have the best surgeon. But any person knows you avoid surgery if at all possible. Now, our peacebuilders get less than $1 billion in the budget. And peace-building skills, there are 4 factors which statistically prove that when present, they increase the incidence of peace and they decrease the incidence of violence. Number 1, expanding economic opportunities for women. Number 2, expanding educational opportunities for children. Number 3, reducing violence against women. And number 4, diminishing unnecessary human suffering whenever possible. This is why we should see large groups of desperate people as a national security risk.
In the debate, You were at the last debate. Where was that? Where did that take place?
Miami.
In Miami. Where's the next one? You're going to be in the next one.
Detroit.
In Detroit. Okay. What's it like to be up there on the stage with those other 9 people? They have you kind of tucked over, like
Notice that?
way out in left field over there.
And at the same time, this time on the far left again.
Really? They have you over there like way beyond Tim Ryan. And
Yeah.
his campaign is in the witness relocation program. So do you feel marginalized out there? Do you like, they say, oh, there's wacky Marianne Williamson. Let's put her out there and out in the peace fields.
My placement on the podium is the least of the ways that I feel marginalized in this election. Right. But I understand how it works, and I understand that there's a sort of political media industrial complex. And last time it has to be Bernie, and this time it can be any of these 4 or 5. And I have a problem with that. You see, I challenge the idea that only people whose careers have been entrenched for decades in the limitations of the mindset that drove us into this ditch, that they're the only ones we should consider qualified to take us out of the ditch.
Well, you're a famous business person, besides being a spiritual leader. We've got no political experience. We have someone who is a businessman with no political experience in office now. That makes someone who is from what we'd think of as kind of the normative political track that we've seen in American history very appealing. That might be one of the reasons why Joe Biden is so appealing, is people go like, oh, just go back to before things got crazy. Do you understand why people want something very kind but vanilla?
I understand it, but I believe that this is a case where what you might consider the safe choice is the most dangerous thing we could possibly do. The president's problem is not that he lacked political experience. The problem is that he lacks ethics, and he seems to lack a visceral taste for democracy. I don't like this idea. This idea, you said I lack political experience. There's this almost Wizard of Oz idea, that this idea of this political class and something's going on behind the curtain and they know what to do in the ways that the rest of us don't. I think when we think of political qualifications today, we should expand our sense of what those qualifications are. A political qualification today should include political vision. It should include moral certitude. It should include the capacity to move groups of people, large groups of people, towards a common goal, a common vision, a love for democracy and a love for our world and a love for our planet. Anybody who says, first of all, a lot of very experienced politicians led us into Iraq. And anybody who says that I'm an amateur at what they do, I'm sorry, Stephen, they're an amateur at what I can do.
Yeah. That's just said. The book is A Politics of Love. It's available now. Marianne Williamson, she's running for president. We'll be right back with comedian Daniel Simon.